What's going on, my lovely people? Back for another episode. Man, these months be flying by. But it's another episode of Judge Me Free with NB3. I'm your host, Nelson Bernard III. So, for this month of May, it's been very impactful and very eventful. So, the main thing for this episode I called Imposter Syndrome. And I'm gonna explain why that's the thing, because it pertains to me particularly, right? So when just in the month of May, I've gotten awarded a graduate student service award from Houston Counseling Association, and then I also got inducted into the Society for Collegiate Leadership and Achievement. So I recently did that induction, and oddly enough, like I really wasn't going. I got the invitation, right, and I kind of just looked at it. I was kind of like, whatever. I told my wife about it, and she pretty much, kind of convinced me to go ahead, accept the nomination, and accept my, acknowledge my achievements or whatnot. And for me, I'm not used to the achievements and the recognition of it. Have my name being called or being called out, right? And even with my graduate student service award, right? Of course, I know I attended the events, I helped out. I was just being everywhere and everything, right? But it wasn't to be noticed, right? It wasn't to be recognized, and yeah, and it's just I'm still adjusting to that, for the simple fact that I did 20 years in the Marine Corps, and I didn't get acknowledged this much in my 20 years. And I'm talking about like personal awards, not like the cookie cutter. Here's your, for doing, like, I'm talking about like Nelson Bernard III, we're awarding you for this X, Y, and Z. I didn't get a lot of it in the Marine Corps, nor was I looking for it either, right? And I've completed my first year of my master's program for clinical mental health counseling, and each semester I got awarded personally. The first semester was the Presidential Award from the TSU Counseling Association, right? And then this semester I got the Service Award, and then I got inducted to the NCLA. And it's crazy to say that my GPA right now after 1 year is a 4.0. And that's crazy to me because I've never been a straight A student. I've never been really confident in school coming up, high school. And I had a 3.8 for my bachelor's in psychology at SNHU. So it and it's like, it's like the imposter syndrome, right? It's like, damn, is that I do that? That's me? This is real? Because you think like 4.0 is like so prestigious. It's so like out of reach, right? Well, at least that's what it was for me, because I didn't have that confidence. I wasn't academically inclined like that, right? And then here I am, in my big age of 40, and doing my work and participating and volunteering, and then I'm getting acknowledged for just doing pretty much what I want to do. Nobody's making me do it. It's not a requirement of anything, but I'm getting recognized for just being myself, and that's crazy to me, because I'm not looking for a recognition. I'm not looking for awards. I'm not doing things to check in a box, bro. I just do things because out of the kindness of my heart, I want to give and be the best version of myself, and the result of that is I'm getting recognized, and it feels good. Plus, in fact, I'm getting recognized by my own people, and that's like the icing on the cake too. The awards I got in the Marine Corps, it was cool or whatnot, but it doesn't compare to awards I'm getting out here in these organizations, Houston Counseling Association, Texas Southern University Counseling Association, right? It doesn't compare. because it's from my own people and they actually see me. And I didn't jump through any hoops. I wasn't, and had to join no good old boys club and like that. It was just like, hey, here I am, use me as you see fit, and I'm here to serve. That's pretty much how I showed up since day one at TSU, right? And my wife, I tell her about what I'm getting recognized for. She be look at me like, so you still feel weird? I say, yeah, I still feel weird because I'm just not used to people calling my name, calling me up, calling me out, bring me on the stage. We're presenting you, not a group of folks, like you, So at the banquet, my professors, made sure I was going to be there, right? Because they were going to award me. I didn't know what it was, of course, but they was like, we're going to award you. I was like, okay. So I just do what I was told, and I showed up, and I got my award. And let's see, let's show my certificate of appreciation. Yeah, I already framed it, but yeah, my certificate of appreciation, Outstanding Graduate Student Service Award. So, I mean, it's wonderful. My wife has helped me with recognition and also put my accomplishments out there, right? Because I spend so much time looking online and seeking people's accomplishments, who's getting married, who had babies, who got promoted, who got a new job or whatnot. I'm all constantly looking for like this. So I can tell them congratulations, right? So I'm doing better to promote my accomplishments and put them out there, right? And it's not necessarily like to brag or whatnot, because I kind of battle with that, right? But that's just me battling me, right? Getting back to the imposter syndrome. But I'm doing better. I'm trying to do better. My wife has helped me do better and celebrate myself in my accomplishments that not everybody even achieve anyway, right? So it may seem like nothing or small to me, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not something people do every day. And she helped me realize that. So yeah, it's but I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better, y'all. It's just the struggle is real, though. The struggle is real. Like it's crazy because like I was talking to my oldest stepdaughter Tia about imposter syndrome and how she just finished her first year of teaching, and she poured into her students and done things that most teachers don't do or wouldn't do, and she's surprised and shocked at the impact she made and how they she made them feel and the emotions she was getting back from them, right? And I was like, well, I mean, you doing stuff that they're not used to, and that's going to benefit their life, and they're never going to forget you. So it's just funny that I was talking to her about imposter syndrome, and like here I am. I'm like, what they awarded me for? I'm just being me. Like I'm just doing what I feel I'm supposed to do, right? And my wife, she tells me, she was like, baby, you understand, everybody don't have that spirit, that giving, that volunteer spirit that you have. So they're not used to that, and they're gonna latch on to that. They're gonna hold on to that, and they're gonna acknowledge you because they want you to feel appreciated, and they don't want you to feel that your efforts are going unnoticed, right? So I kind of just like, okay. I mean, I get it, I get it. So it's just a bit of an adjustment, right? And I'm sure I got more coming my way, right? Because I'm not changing who I am, right? I got at least 2 more years at the school and then in these organizations, and just being out there. And my classmates, man, like shout out to my classmates, because they make sure I get recognized too. They'll be texting me, hey man, send me your headshot, man, send me your bio, man. I know you don't care about that, but just you need to get recognized, So shout out to my classmates, my professors, like they gonna make sure I get recognized, right? Because I just be chilling, man. I just I do my thing, and that's just who I am, But I am growing in that process, though, of course, right? Because again, throughout my life, I went without being noticed or not being called on, or that underdog. So I'm slowly coming out of that, and coming to this new sense of realized self out here in the civilian world. So yeah, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment because I've always been in the shadows, in the Marine Corps, and adolescent and everything, right? But now it's like, okay, we see you, Nelson. You can't hide no more. All right, the cat's out the bag now. so, I mean, it's just that's what it is, And I never said, okay, I'm gonna go in my master's and get a 4.0, right? But that's just what it is right now. I'm gonna strive to maintain it, right? But that wasn't a goal of mine. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a goal to win an award for student service award. I just want to attend the events and contribute and help where I can. And I don't necessarily have to be in charge, right? I made that clear. I don't have to be in charge, but I will be involved and give, my gifts and my talents any way that I see fit, right? So I've been doing that. I've been doing that, and yeah, it's been paying off, and it definitely lets me really understand that people are seeing me, noticing me, right? Even though I might want to chill and be in the cut, because they see me in the cut, chilling in the back, observing and whatnot, but it lets me know that they still see me, whether I'm loud, quiet, standing up, sitting down, like I am being seen. So that feel good. That makes me feel good. Coming from my career in the Marine Corps and how I came up, that does feel good, and I have to just come into it and accept it, and that's the big thing for me, and why I'm battling this imposter syndrome, right? Because my wife, she shakes her head and she be like, I'll be like, man, they I got awarded, babe. I like, they want me. She just like, shake her head like, so you're just not going to accept it, huh? Like, what you mean? I'm being regular. Well, you are not regular, sir. And my big sister get on me about that too as well. My brother-in-law, like my friends, like they get on me about that. I just be like, man, I'm just a regular guy, man. And they're like, nah, try again, buddy. Try again. So shout out to the Houston Counseling Association, Texas Southern University Counseling Association, my professors, my classmates, everybody who support me, everybody who root for me. I appreciate that. Y'all don't know what it does. And to that point, for my daughters, if y'all watching this, Blessing, Corey, Emerson, I seen y'all these accomplishments and these videos and stuff like that to show y'all that I'm going to be an example for you, whether I'm in your life, close to you, across states. It don't matter, because we may not get what we want in life. Life may not go as way we want it to go, but I want you to still thrive and live life regardless. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm showing you this. So that's why I put these in the videos. I've seen you post and text messages and all that type of stuff, let you know what daddy's doing, and also to give inspiration, to let you know, yeah, things could be better in life, but you still need to find your niche, find your drive, and thrive. Okay, so hopefully y'all proud of daddy, and I'm proud of y'all and y'all accomplishments, the ones I know and ones I don't know, right? But just understand that daddy's out here watching, and hopefully you're watching me, and we can still learn from each other, and I'm gonna be an example for you regardless what the situation is. Okay, so I just hope that this message finds you well. But daddies, I'm out here doing my thing, and I'm happy, and I'm continuing working on myself, right, as everybody else should. So I just wanted to just say that, as go through these accomplishments and just go through my program and my life, you know, as I'm still trying to get to y'all and cultivate our relationship and rekindle that. So hopefully this finds you well, and hopefully you have a great summer, because I know y'all probably out of school by now. So hopefully you have a great, eventful, and productive summer, you know. But yeah, so switching gears from, you know, imposter syndrome, and a couple of events we had this month that kind of shed some light, and, you know, some holidays, of course, right? So one, had to go to Mississippi / Louisiana for my father-in-law. He passed. He was a big New Orleans Saints, and we went to the funeral. They decked him out, man, with a custom-made casket with New Orleans Saints, and I got his shirt on right now. But I thought that was kind of cool. They send him off, and it was definitely emotional. You know, people standing up and saying their speeches and stuff. And I mean, I only knew him since, you know, me and my wife been together about 8 years, right? But, you know, I could pretty much consider him a father-in-law. But yeah, it was good seeing, you know, my in-laws. It's been a little while since I've seen them, but yeah, but again, going to those funerals, that's why I'm always make sure I'm present with people, right? Because you just never know, right? You never know. And I cherish the moments I have with people, because you don't know if that's gonna be your last, because we're not promised tomorrow, right? So it always put in perspective, you know, more and more for me when you know, funerals and stuff like that, when tragedy happens, because, you know, we always say, oh, we ain't promised tomorrow, but we don't really live it out, right? So when I interact with people, it's gonna be meaningful, purposeful, and it's gonna be worth your while, because again, we're not promised. So it was good to, you know, see him getting laid to rest, and like I said, rest in peace, and condolences to the family. And like I said, we gotta just do better and make sure we are in communication with one another. We're checking on one another, you know, while we're still living and walking this earth. Okay. And then, of course, you know, we had Mother's Day, you know, the wonderful holiday. And I thought it was interesting for me witnessing this, because so my oldest daughter, Tia, she did like a surprise, like, set up at the house for her mom. And she was like, you know, let me know when y'all come on y'all way home, you know, from church. So, you know, I let her know. So she did her thing while I was at church, and we came home, man. She had the thing laid out, like the rose petals on the floor, the balloons, the presents, had the song playing, had written a note for her, and videos and everything. And it was very emotional, and it was emotional for me, for the simple fact that, you know, I knew how their relationship was 8 years ago when I came into the picture, right? So to see that full circle moment and see that their relationship has cultivated to what it is, oh my God, it filled my heart up. And I was so happy for them, man. And, you know, they, you know, bonding and like coming to terms of, you know, who each other are, and accepting, you know, acceptance. Like I saw it right before my eyes, man. So that was pretty cool. And so yeah, it was. So my wife had an awesome Mother's Day. You know, a lot of tears, a lot of emotions, but it was warranted though, because they came a long way. And I've watched all my stepchildren relationship with their mom, and how it's gotten better over the last 8 years. So that is a wonderful sight to see. Wonderful sight to see. So shout out my oldest stepdaughter, Tia, coming through in the clutch. But you know, that's how Capricorn do. We love the surprise. So yeah. But yeah, well deserved though. Much deserved. So, and then also, man, you know, it was Memorial Day a couple of days ago, right? So, you know, people all get it twisted about, you know, Happy Memorial Day, you know, that's to recognize the fallen, people who make the ultimate sacrifice. Veterans Day is, you know, the ones who are still alive and served or serving, right? So I recently had to explain it to my moms, but nonetheless, when it comes to Memorial Day, I was on the phone with my mom's and she had asked me, she said, how do you feel? I was like, about Memorial Day? She was like, yeah. I was like, well, I said the person that comes to mind during Memorial Day at this point now is my good friend Brian Hemphill. And I gotta shout him out because he was a good friend of mine. He retired from the Marine Corps a year before me, and last year he committed suicide. And I went to his funeral here in Houston a year ago, right? So he is the person that comes to mind when I think Memorial Day. Now I say that because I didn't know a lot of people who died in a war per se or in combat, right? But there are people who made it from the war and combat, but lost the internal battle, the internal war, right? So my good friend Brian, he was one of those guys, right? And it was so crazy because he was the one that would talk to me before I retired and kept me encouraged when I was fighting for custody of my kids and going through the court system and everything, because he told me about a similar situation that he went through, and he just gave me encouragement to not give up and to keep going so it don't end up like his situation. So I've always thanked him for that, and I always told him I loved him for that. And the last time I spoke to him and saw him, we actually talked about real stuff, and that's why I didn't feel any type of ways when I got the news, because I talked to him and told him how I felt about him. Every time I talked to him, I told him what he did for me, what he's done for me, how I appreciated him, right? Because he did get me through a rough time toward the end of my career. He helped me get through that. So I was able to tell him that multiple times, right? And that goes back to my point of just being present and talking to people like you're never going to see them again, because we always feel that we have tomorrow. And I don't live by that. Might be like, you be long, you can talk, you long-winded, but I say it's a purpose though. It's for a reason, because I don't have to sit and talk every day to anybody every day, right? But when we do get a hold of each other, we gonna talk about some real stuff. And that was one of the guys that I could talk to about real stuff, and he would check on me, I'll check on him, and he's truly missed. But shout out to my man Brian Hemphill, may he rest in heaven. Okay, so that's what Memorial Day is for me nowadays, because that's the closest death that really hit home for me when it comes to service members, and Memorial Day, and suicide, and then combat. That's the closest it's gotten to me to date. So yeah, and also R.I.P. to my old self. So my best friend Jeremy, he had made a point, because we all go through transformations in life, right? We transition from this part of life to that part of life. But I know right now I'm discovering a lot about life and myself. So I would definitely say RIP to my old self, because my old self had to die so y'all can witness and experience this new Nelson Bernard III that is emerging right now. Okay, so, and my old self got me to where I'm at now, but that my old self has to die, and it had to die. Along with the depression and the anxiety, the anger, the resentment, all that stuff, right? It had to die, right? So that's what I think about Memorial Day, when it comes to, ultimate sacrifice, because I had to ultimately sacrifice my ego, death to my ego and pride, to be this man that y'all see right now before you, right? And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but it was necessary. It was a necessary death, right? And the goal is to be the best version of myself each and every day. Not some of the days, not weekly, each and every day. So my best friend, he reminded me of that, because he's seen a lot. We've been through a lot, from high school to now. So shout out to my boy Jermo, but yeah, so Memorial Day has a different meaning for me now as I'm going through life, as I'm getting older, right? It's a celebration, but it's more personal for me at this point. It's not just flags waving, visiting graves or whatnot. It's more personal and internal and external when it comes to that. So I definitely I just try to be my best self every single day, because you never know. You never know at the end of the day how it's gonna go, when, why. So, and it's just and also shout out, it's graduate season 2, right? So shout out to everybody who graduated, my nieces, nephews, people, get promoted to the next grade, all that good stuff, so graduation season. I didn't have any graduations that I attended this year. More likely next year for sure, but I didn't have any that I attended. But people graduated every year, every year. So congratulations to everybody, well deserved, and I wish you nothing but the best for your future endeavors. May is always a busy time of the year, with the holidays and the graduations like that. So yeah. And then so with that, another event that me and my wife cultivated was we had like a couples, like for Memorial Day, like a couples get together at the house here. We had it was me and my wife and 3 other couples from church, from a Gospel Hill Baptist Church. So we did like a test run with that, because we're always talking about fellowshipping and men's group, women's group, the circles and everything, mingling and getting together, right? So we went and did that, and it turned out awesome. Of course, everything me and my wife put together, it's been on point. We're on a streak right now. So, but it was, let's say, so it's 4 couples, 8 adults, and of course kids. We had kids too. We had to bring kids, because I was kid friendly. But the significance of that is for us to get together, outside of church and outside our daily routines and lives and everything. So we came together and we ate some good food, played some games, and we fellowshiped. I know for me, it was unique for me to get with the fellas, right? Because we as men, we don't talk every day. Now women, they might text, have their group chats and everything, but men not so much, right? So for me, the goal and the mission was to pour in to the other fellas, and to also learn as well. So for me, out of the group that was there, I was the oldest, right? I mean, not by a lot, but I was the oldest, and then the other guys were a couple years behind me, right? So with that, I utilized our time fellowshipping, right, to actually talk like man to man, like about real stuff, right? So I would explain to them, like, especially when it comes to me, when you talk with me, like, I'm a very a deep person. I don't like to do surface level. I don't like small talk, right? If we're gonna be in each other's presence, it's gonna be for a reason, and we're gonna get something out of it. So I would say, like, and I'm joking, but I'm serious. I was like, I don't care who your GOAT is. I don't care what you think about the latest albums. I don't care about the NBA Finals. I don't care about none of that, right? I care about what's going on with you, like, for real. Because you have plenty of people, and you can go on social media to talk about all that silly stuff, right? But ain't nobody talking about what's really going on, especially black men, what's really going on inside, feelings, and emotions, right? And the crazy part is, like, I want to invoke those feelings, so I'm gonna be the example. I'm gonna tell you what I feel and what I'm thinking about, right? And it ain't gonna be nothing worldly, nothing, entertainment or the latest news. This ain't gonna be none of that, right? I'm gonna tell you about what I'm going through, as far as missing my daughters, how I feel about the transition from military to civilian life at this institution, at HBCU, right? The things I'm learning about myself. How does it make me feel? That's what I'm talking about, right? So I make it a point to be like, look, if we gonna talk, it's not gonna be about the GOAT who you think the GOAT is, and people get passionate about those conversations, right? I want to see black men get passionate about their feelings and what's going on inside. That's what I want to see. So my purpose in hosting, with the men was to talk about and open up, and it was great. It was great, and they appreciated that, because again, we can get around and do surface level and do the barbershop talk. Okay, that's cool, but we ain't talking about what's really needs to be talked about. And I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. So we finna get it in, right? And then we played our games. We played Taboo, Heads Up, Family Feud, Spoon. That was a new one for us. We played that, so they got introduced to us. But yeah, we really interacted, right? Small, intimate group, right? And of course, we're gonna do more of them, of course. But that was just like to see, like, okay, let's put this thing together, because we need the fellowship, and especially for my men, we don't talk as much as we should, and when we do talk, it's about stuff that don't matter. Okay. So that is what the goal is. Even when I do these videos, right, and I send them out, I'm talking about me and what I'm going through, my transformations, my transitions, right, from military to civilian life to HBCU, to counseling and training, right, all these different things that's important to me, but at the same time that doesn't get talked about. Because either I feel like, or we feel like, nobody cares, it's not important, right? And so I'm trying to break the mold of all of that, right? Because I see far too many men and young boys just walking around hurting and in pain, and I can see it in their eyes, man. And all it takes is somebody to say, "Hey, man, how you doing, man?" And actually listen, right? And so we sit here talking about, no safe space and can't trust nobody and this, that, and third. I don't open up because of whatever reason. But I'll tell you one thing. You're only one person away from asking the right question. That's all it is. Just the right person asking the right question. That's it. And that's what I represent. And I'm going to continue to represent that. So I learned a lot. I definitely talked a lot, but I actually soaked in a lot of knowledge as well too, because I don't want to never be like, oh, I'm the smartest or I know it all. And it's not about that. It's about, you can learn from each and everybody in every experience at the end of the day. So you gotta, be that example, especially for my young black boys and men. And I'm going to continue to do that. Right. So I did an interview with Houston Council Association at the banquet, and I talked about that as well, the transition civilian, and how I want to bridge that gap, because it's important to me. It's just pretty much, that's what it is. It's important because I don't want to have the black boys and men be forgotten or lost in translation with all this, right? Because I come from that. I know what that feels like to have that happen, right? So, and not to be represented as well. So that's my mission, that's my journey that I'm going to continue to do. So hopefully I make an impact some kind of way, big or small, but nonetheless, I'm gonna make an impact, and that's the goal at the end of the day. So, but like I said, but to do that, I got to fight off this imposter syndrome, right? Like I said in the beginning of the video, because again, it is actually me doing this work. It is actually me have the desire to do this stuff, and I'm here, there, I'm everywhere. Like, it is actually me doing it. So yeah, it's gonna be a battle to just fully accept it, because again, I'm not used to being seen, and I'm getting recognized for what I'm supposed to do, at least in my mind. That's what God put on my heart to do. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I can't, be mad or be, weird about that people want to recognize me and see me for what I really am. and for being, and not just doing. I'm being myself. I'm not doing. So yeah, your boy's gonna work on that. You know, I got people in my corner, in my ear, helping me with that. So they ain't gonna let me escape it. Trust me, I'm already knowing. So, but I appreciate that because I need that. I need that, because if not, I'll be complacent, and I would just be in the routine and just won't get out the comfort zone, right? But it does make me uncomfortable. That's the thing. If my name get called every time, I come up here to get this, receive this, that makes me uncomfortable. But it's a good uncomfort though. So I'm not going to run away from it. But I'm just being honest with y'all about my real raw feelings about how life is going for me right now and what I'm learning about life at the end of the day. So hopefully you can do the same thing too, with whoever you can trust, whoever you trust, confide in, whoever that may be. But just let this be, something that you can strive to, because I don't plan on stopping no time soon. And, I'm benefiting from it. I'm benefiting from all this, so sometimes I don't see the big picture. And sometimes not meant for me to see the big picture right then, but I'm benefiting from it. And God has put people in my place, in a place to help me see that and cultivate that. So that's all I can ask for at the end of the day. So like I said, hopefully my daughters see this, and it does something for them, and whoever else watches this video. Hope you see this and pass it on to somebody. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, right? And it just inspire somebody else. That's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm inspiring myself, right? So I can inspire somebody else, because I talk to my wife all the time about life and how life really go out here. She's gonna be laughing at me because but I'll be honest though. Like I said, I'm open and honest, and we laugh about stuff. We can cry about stuff, and I don't feel no ways about it, no shame about it. So hopefully, that is trickling down to whoever's gonna watch this, see this, and honestly know that, like, it's okay to feel some type of way. It's okay to feel mad, sad, all that stuff, but just understand what it is and where it comes from and how to properly deal with it. That's what it is about. It's not about condemning your feelings, especially us men, black men. It ain't about condemning feelings. It's about just understanding and recognizing them. All right, and then what you gonna do with them? It's okay. It's okay. So that is what the goal is. All right. And yeah. So before I get up out of here, I already know, what I'm saying, I gotta do my promotions. Intellectualpower.net. It's a supplement that I take. All right. It might work for you. Check it out. Intellectualpower.net. I take it every day. Okay. And then I got my big bro, Zoe Williams. All right. So if you go to his website, MrZoe.com, he has a new book you can pre-order too. So go on the link. Go on the website, click the link. You can pre-order the book. But all his stuff is self-work, shadow work, and it's gonna definitely get your mind right. Only if you want to, though. So it ain't gonna play with you. So keep that in mind too. And then of course, Class Bookstore. It's the book that I bought from Class Bookstore. And I bought t-shirts from there, 3rd Ward, over by next to TSU. All right, they online, they got social media. Go buy some books from the Black-owned bookstore. That's they doing their thing. So I got good friends with David and Dara, so they the owners. So check them out, or go online and purchase some books. And if they don't have what you need, they can get it for you. All right, so check them out. And then of course my big sister Zaza Ali, Keys to Womanhood. And then change your mind from lack to abundance. All right. These these are good workbooks on her website, zazaali.com. All right, so I frequently order these books and gift these to people so they can do their self-work, self-inventory, because it's very important, right? And to do this when you're alone and don't have any distractions or anything like that, right? So that's why I do those and I recommend these products, because it's gonna get you right if you're serious. Now, if you're serious, all right, they're not gonna play games with you, you know. So at the end of the day, that's what's gonna come down to, how bad you want it. All right, so that's all I got for y'all for this episode. Hopefully this inspired somebody. This spoke to somebody, because it definitely spoke to me. Because I be struggling, y'all, at times, but I ain't afraid to talk about it. So so for everybody who's been rooting for me, who's shouting me out, who's recognized me, who see me, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, because that doesn't go unnoticed. And I said, I'm working through this transition as well. So I appreciate you, and I just hope everybody just be the best version of themselves at the end of the day. And until next time, y'all already know what it is. I love y'all for free. Okay, I can help you, but I can't save you. All right, so save yourself and just be an example. All right, till next time, love y'all.